Okay. Interesting subject today, I think, and that is really, I guess, maturity and your, particularly though your age, right? Is when are we ready to enjoy movies? I do think this is an interesting topic because I told people in my review here of Amadeus that I'd never watched it, and it's an excellent movie. And movies like this, from my perspective, were just, when I was younger, were locked off. They were just movies that I would not really want to watch. I had no interest in, I guess you could say, the arts, classical, and this type of thing, poetry, painting, that type of thing. I had no interest in it. So, but with maturity and age comes, well, I guess you could say wisdom, but becomes the appreciation for the things you watch, the relationships you're in, and things like that. So, well, let's get to it. Yeah, I mean, I said this is a very good transfer. This is a 4K transfer for Amadeus. And I said here, this is the first time that I watched Amadeus. So, yeah, I put a review out for this. I reviewed it 4 out of 5, and the audio 4 out of 5. For me, from my perspective, a 4 out of 5 is very good. I don't like to just, give movies incredible scores just because. Like, in my mind, I need to know where it ranks in the grand scheme of 4K movies. And there were things in the transfer that I simply do not know, right? Like grain control, the restoration process, and things like this. I just don't know. So I have to use really some thought of what I think in transfers like this about like how grain has been handled and things. So, but regardless, 4 out of 5 for me is an excellent score. So once you start getting into the 4s and stuff like that, then it's like, then there's potential issues on discs and things like that. 4 out of 5, though, is essentially, I could see many people reviewing this 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, or an A+, and things like that. So, but I have always been, I felt, a strict reviewer of video content, of what I actually think is good picture. So, but other than grain, I thought this movie looked so good. The lighting, the color grading, its detail, just everything about the movie I thought looked excellent. So, but yeah, not really going over the review today. Just, I did put it out. And Rob, if anyone hasn't heard of Rob before, he has a YouTube channel. He does a show called Robservations, and he basically talks about movies. And to be honest, I've only recently been introduced to Rob's content on there, and he talks about Hollywood, what's going wrong with Hollywood a lot of the times, especially in today's movies. There is a lot going wrong. And I love watching his content. But actually, now thinking about this and the discussion of this video, if somebody had introduced me to Rob, say 10 years ago, I would probably not find his content interesting at all. And it's because of where you are, I think, in your life and your own enjoyments and again, yeah, just where you are. I've passed Rob's videos on to a few people, and they're like, "No, this is boring," right? And I'm like, "Really?" Like, I see, and that's the thing. Boring is just if you have no interest in movies and the discussion of movies, then sure, that content is probably boring. But I get a lot out of it. I really enjoy it. But it's because as well I've started really appreciating movies and films, especially older movies. Like there's so many good movies. But Rob responded and said, I'll leave the link to his channel in the description. I'm sure if you're like following me, you'd probably at least heard of him. I have to stop you right there. First time watching Amadeus, a Best Picture, one of the most entertaining movies ever made by a master director. Bruh, you deeply saddened me this day. So, yeah. And I have not seen every movie ever made. So, a lot of cinephiles, I'm not saying Rob is a cinephile, but I mean, he may be. A lot of cinephiles contact me and say, how have you never seen this movie? It's like, that's sad. And I don't consider myself a cinephile. I just consider myself a movie enjoyer. And that's really it, you know. Now, I think this post was made in fun. You know, he's not ripping me apart here or anything like that. But I responded and said, you know what, Rob? I was too young to appreciate movies like this. And I truly believe that. And I was watching Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cop, Terminator, Gremlins, Karate Kid, The Temple of Doom, The Never-Ending Story. I mean, when you hear all of these movies, they're boys' movies, aren't they? That's what they are. They're boys, in my opinion. These are boys' movies. Guys' movies, but yeah, that's just for me how I feel. Another thing is these movies are very escapist heavy. Like Never-Ending Story, for example, is a story created by your own mind in another world. And this was me when I was younger at school. I had my head out the window the entire time. And when I mean my head out the window, I mean I was not there at school to learn anything. I was there dreaming about the Never-Ending Story, dreaming about the Terminator, dreaming about my way of dealing with the gremlins and trying to kill the gremlins, or, you know, Ghostbusters, taking ghosts out and things like that. I didn't want to be and deal with things in the real world in that way. I wanted to escape and have these movies take away. So movies like Amadeus was too it was too like real, I guess you could say. It didn't have for me that escapist thing going on, whereas these movies do. And this also comes down to, again, is again, being able to appreciate movies like this. So if I'd have watched this movie when I was 10 years old, I would not get the appreciation that I do now. Plus, I saw it when it was released on, it's going to be released, I think, next week. I've now got to see it for the first time in 4K. I value that more than seeing it potentially, in the VHS era, right? I do. And from what I've heard about the Blu-ray, I'm glad I didn't watch it, because I struggle to watch things that have absolutely terrible picture quality. This is why I don't stream. Streaming for me takes away from what I'm trying to enjoy, right? If I can see artifacts in corners, I mean, at this point, it's not even in corners, it's all over the screen. Some might say, well, the picture's not that bad. For me, it is. It's not good. It's just not good enough. It takes me out of this world. This world that I'm in here, when I'm watching a movie, I cannot know that it has been encoded, and that's just how I am. This was, you can say as well, though, maturity. Maturity is, even within music. I was a dance guy, right? I hated rock music at the time, like even when in my early teens, like 12, 14. I hated rock. Even when my friends introduced rock to me, I absolutely hated it. We actually joked that, well, if you listen to this music so much, surely you'll like it, right? And it actually took me a while to appreciate that music as well. And then I realized that like grunge, rock, indie was actually good. But when I was younger, like say 8-10 years old, there'd be no way I would appreciate that music for what it is. This really, I mean, if you want to go here as well, this is relationships as well. When I was younger, I was very much, and kind of still am really, I really put heavy value on me time. And that is doing things that give me pleasure, like even like calibrating my home theater, right? It's just me and the gear that I have and me doing my own thing, and I test things and stuff like that. I love that time to myself. So, and to be honest, I've been like that for a while. So in my 20s, could I commit to a long-term relationship? No. Could I give somebody love that, yeah, I mean, could I be in a relationship and give the love that person needs from me? Absolutely not. You know, it's only recently in my life where, you know, I've met somebody and I feel as though I can give them the love that I want from her and she wants from me. And again, I think that comes from maturity. You can't, if I'd have met this girl 10 years ago, I was not in a place to have this relationship, this incredible relationship with her, love her for who she is, without me feeling as though I have to push her away to spend more time with myself. You can say it's like self-discovery and things like that, whatever. But I'm just saying, in the same way as music and movies and things like that, there are points in your life where relationships come and relationships go. And it's almost like a fork in the road, and you have to make these decisions about when things are right for you, right? In love, for me, it's exactly the same. And when I was in my younger years, I just could not commit to a long-term relationship in the same way. So much like Amadeus here, if I'd have watched this, I've probably already said this, but if I'd have watched this when I was a young kid or even in my 20s, I was not in a position to thoroughly enjoy this movie. So could you say that I've, missed out on my life for not seeing this movie? No, I actually disagree with that strongly, because I got such an appreciation for this movie at this time in my life. So I don't think if you are a new 20-year-old cinephile who is starting to watch movies and enjoy movies, I think you always have to remember is how old you are, what things you are looking for in movies yourself, and you don't have to watch things yet in your life. There's just certain things that you might not actually be ready for, and you get a greater appreciation for them later on in life, as with love, right? I think you can have deeper and more meaningful relationships the older you get. So that is kind of what I've been thinking about lately. And it's been on my mind actually for a while about, because again, I do get contacted by cinephiles a lot saying, hey, this is the first time I've watched this movie. And they don't seem to understand that I just wasn't ready. much like westerns. I was not a western guy when I was a kid. Again, I wanted to be taken away. I wanted to be Arnold, take me away and be Arnold Schwarzenegger taking on, the Predator and things like that. I had my head in the clouds. And there's just, again, there is a point in your life where you can appreciate things for what they are. So with relationships, love, movies, and everything, it will come to you when the time is right. That's honestly what I think. For me, I was at the right place. I feel I was at the right place at the right time to enjoy this movie for what it is. Now, maybe I could have enjoyed this movie, say, 10 years ago. But again, it was on Blu-ray, so I wouldn't have enjoyed it anyway. So, again, that's just how I am. Immature in a lot of ways, but that is just how I am. I'm 45 years old, and for a 45-year-old, I'm very immature. I think I can be mature when I need to be, but if a lot of the times I'm not. A lot of the times I just like to have fun with things, responding to people online, trolling a lot of the times, to be honest. But yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I think. Now I think Rob was just leaving this in, being kind of funny, but also, hey, you haven't seen this yet, But I do think this is an interesting conversation, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Are there movies that you could say this? Are there movies that you haven't seen yet, and everybody else says that they're really good movies, but you haven't been in that place yet where you've thought, this movie is for me, right? So I've actually been watching some YouTube videos lately about people watching certain movies for the first time, and that feeling of discovering a movie for its first time is so it's special. Like, I watch people that have watched, say, Interstellar for the first time, because I want to see their reactions, like how my reaction was when I watched it 10 years ago, and they're watching it, say, today. I just love that I love to see how people react. Do people react to the movie in the same way? Now, here's an interesting thought. I was going to finish there, but when I watched Interstellar 10 years later in IMAX, I was more emotional that time, and I'll be honest, I think I've seen Interstellar probably 15 times since it's been out, at least. I went to see it 3 times, even in the movie theatre when it first came out. I was more emotional with Interstellar at 45 years old than I was whenever it was released when I was 34 or something, maybe. Far more emotional. And again, as we age, we just see things in a different way. You see their relationship of daughter and father in a different way. That connection is so much stronger the older you get. It really is. Amadeus. This movie is probably one of those movies that actually gets better the older you get and the more you watch it. So watching it for me when I'm 45 years old was wow. It was like, whoa. But then I can also say, I can see it from, say, Rob's point of view. You haven't seen this movie. I know. But now I get to appreciate it right now in this place where I was ready. Like, I'm ready to experience this. And I feel as though I got more out of it. So that's about all I want to say. Let me know what you think. Again, if are there movies that you haven't seen, or you waited until you was far older to watch a movie that was supposedly really, really good, and you are actually thankful that you waited because you feel as though you can enjoy that movie more. So again, movies, music, love, relationships with people, all different at stages of our lives. You know, love relationships become more important to us, I think, as human beings, the older we get. I am really just gravitating to that idea as well. And that is, you know, connections between people are so much more meaningful now at 45 years old than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. And it's the same with everything. So, and I feel as though my passion for the things that I love is so much higher now than it was 20 years ago. I enjoy things so much more than I did back then. Sure, my diet and my health and things like that have gotten far better than I did when I was 20 years ago. When I was 20 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. So life, again, is about learning and appreciating what you have and, you know, just everything in life. So I'm probably rambling, so I'll leave it there. I hope you appreciate the video. Leave me a comment and yeah, just let me know what you think and yeah, your experience with this. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you.